Welcome to Lawn Rush. Guys, I want to talk about edgers for a minute. Now, if you've been following Lawn Rush, then you know that we run RedMax and we run Steel. We've never really ran Echoes. I'm sure Echoes are good, but I just never ran them. Uh, RedMax and Steel is what we run. So I want to talk about edgers for a second. This is the biggest and the baddest RedMax edger. It's got the big motor on it, and I wanted to try it out and see what I thought about it. This one here, I just said, give me the best one you got. Give me the biggest one. So what I found is that, well, right after I paid for it, they informed me that like it's really not recommended to use this big motor for your hedge trimmer. And with the hedge trimmer, I originally bought the system that comes apart here in the middle, and that went away. But I kept the attachment here because it's really not that much harder for me to go ahead and take this off and put that bush trimmer on it. But they say that it's too much power to use that bush trimmer. Now, RedMax makes the best bush trimmers, hands down. They're better than the Echoes. They're better than the Steels. Their blades are better for whatever reason. If you ever look at the blades, they have the most expensive blades to replace. But when you're cutting, you can see the difference in the cut. It just cuts faster. They stay sharper. Mine's never been even sharpened, and they still just cut better than new Steels, and they're old RedMaxes that cut better than the new Steel. So RedMax is owned by Husqvarna. I don't know if that is the reason why, but they just put better blades. So, but the point is, you can't use this for your hedge trimmer, so that's not cool. Now, the extra power is good, but I'm not seeing the benefit of having the extra power. Like, what exactly am I edging where I need more power? I'm not quite sold on that, but it is what it is. I'm not cool with the on-off switch not returning. I don't know why it has to be switched, but it doesn't return on its own. So, that's not, okay, whatever. But it has been getting a little bit hard to start. I don't have a problem starting it, but the guys have been having a hard time starting it for some reason. The choke, it really goes by the heat on the motor. If it's hot, you don't really need to choke it. That could just be operator error. They're just not understanding. But when you look over and see a guy just pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, he's looking at his hands, got calluses. He's trying to figure out why he can't start it. Like, give me the trim edger. I either choke it or half choke it based on how hot it is, and it starts up no problem. But guys, this edger is so heavy, man. It's heavy. It's more powerful. I'd imagine on paper it's more powerful a little bit. You're talking a little bit more power just to get a little bit more power. It takes some extra weight, I guess. And the build quality is pretty good on it. But I've noticed that something happened the last time I bought this style motor, and I believe it's a very similar motor. It would over rev, if I'm not mistaken. It would over rev, and it like overheated one day. It needed some adjustment. Then after that, it just never ran right. It just screamed, like the engine would just scream and over rev, and then it turned off on me one day because it was over revving, because I didn't know. I was new to the business in general when I originally bought this. I believe it was this one. I'll show you guys it. It over revved, and it just died. And I took it in, they did some adjustment, and it still ran, but it just didn't seem right after that. I'm starting to notice that with this. You'll be edging, and if the load drops, it'll scream. Like the RPMs will just shoot up, and it'll seem like it's just running too lean. So I don't know if something's going on with it, but I don't know I don't know what the implications of just squeezing all that power out of these engines, because they're trying to get the highest power. So I don't know if there's anything reliable, whatever, that goes into getting all that power out of this motor. But something is going on here with this motor, and hopefully it doesn't blow. Now, going backward to our old edger, this is a BCZ 230TS trimmer with an edger attachment. This is the edger that I bought way back when I bought the other one. I'll show you that if I have time. This one is way lighter because this is their lightweight trimmer, so it's way lighter. It's a little bit heavy toward the gear where the edger is, but in general it's way lighter, and it has enough power to get everything done. It's just as fast, it's just as productive. So I don't understand why I would want that much power, why I would want the extra weight, but I'm going to go ahead and switch these over, these cleats that hold it to the rack, and I'm going to run this some more. They just keep, like I said, RedMax, they just keep running and running and running and running, no issues. So this machine's old, the gear's really old. You can see that it's all worn down right here. The bolt is pretty much gone. Just keep greasing it, putting these guards tend to break, which is not cool, but they tend to break. I'm gonna throw a new blade on it. I run the thicker Echo blades seem to be what works. And I'm gonna go back to running this one because it's gonna be lighter. It starts good. It's got the same RPM, if not, maybe a little bit more RPM, but it doesn't have the horsepower. So I don't need the horsepower. I'm not sold on that. So anyway, let me show you if I can find it, the original one that I bought here. Hold on one second. All right, guys. So I found the first one that I bought years ago, and I want to compare them because I had issues out of this system here. It has the attachment in the middle, and I was using the edger and the bush trimmer. So this wasn't even used as much as a trimmer. You edge real quick, then you switch it out and you do some bush trimming here and there. I had a lot of problems with this. Now let's just look at it for a second and see if it's the same thing. It looks like it's a little different. It might not even be the same motor, but this looks similar. There's a lot of similarities. The starter looks the same. Same starter, same. This is different. The smaller trimmer is different. The spark plug boot looks the same. This looks a little bit different right here. That could be because this one's newer, but I don't know. Looking at the numbers here, I don't know. Maybe this is a class lower because I did say give me the biggest one. Stop that. Hey, don't do that. But yeah, it has the same button here that doesn't return. Same thing, doesn't return. Same handle. Honestly, guys, I feel like going to the high-end RedMax, you're not getting anything more by just saying, give me the lightest one. Give me the lightest trimmer, the BCZ 230TS. Give me that lightest trimmer, and it's fine. Now, on the trimmer, I do kind of want a little bit more power. The cutting swath, it's a little big. And I will say that the steel trimmer, the cutting swath is smaller, but it has more power that I can move faster. Versus the RedMax, you kind of got to lean the head a little bit so the whole swath is not hitting the ground at once. It could be because I'm running a big head, a big trimmer, big speed feed head. If I ran a smaller head, that may not be as much of an issue. But yeah. I've had problems out of this motor. I think I might be starting to have problems out of this one. We'll see what happens. It looks very similar just from looking at the outside of it. It looks like it's the same thing. Maybe this new one's just a little bit updated. But it's hard to say if it's the same motor for sure without really reading the numbers. And I'm not a trimmer expert. This one says 2014 on it right there. 2014. And this one says 2018. And it's 2020 right now. So why am I picking up a trimmer? Why am I getting a trimmer that says 2018? I don't know. You'd think it'd say like at least 2019, so maybe it's sat on the shelf for a couple years, which is typical of my dealer to have something that's sat on the shelf for a couple years. But yeah, it is what it is. It looks like a very similar setup. I'm not a expert on numbers and everything, but looks like a very similar setup here. But I had problems. Here's the number actually. It's a HXZ 240, HXZ 360. So this one I think is a little bigger, but this style with this boot and all this stuff has given me problems where this one hasn't so far. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching Lawn Rush. See you guys in the next one, and have a great day. Bye.